Good evening, everybody. It's Dr. Malika, and I am here. Today is Transformation Tuesday for September the 6th, 2016, and we are here to continue our series on emotional resilience and healing emotionally. This is week 3 of this series, so hopefully you have been able to go back and catch up on the broadcast on YouTube. If you've missed any of the portions of this, I will always post the broadcast there after they are shown live here on Facebook. So if you miss them, that is where you go. And I will provide that link on the Facebook wall as soon as we are done. So hopefully you guys will get in here before the 15 minutes time is up. You know, this time goes really, really fast. But this is not meant to be an intensive session. You know, therapy sessions are normally 50 minutes. At length. So this is just a little one-on-one time between me and you know, wink wink, even though there are other people watching the broadcast with you. We're going to continue what we talked about. Okay, so I want to review what we went over in the first 2 weeks. So week 1, we talked about telling the truth, and you know, the mantra that came out of that is, if you live your life in truth, your life will heal itself. And that's really important because that's the foundation of what we will be talking about for this series on emotional resilience. Last week, we talked about emotional debt and how past experiences leave us with emotional deficits. This was really important, and a lot of people gave feedback on this particular topic and how they can relate personally to just the holes that they have emotionally from past experiences that they have not healed, and how they've tried to continue their lives without addressing those things and how those deficits are still there. I want to continue this week to continue working on the topic of emotional resilience in connection with what we talked about last week. And this week I want to talk about becoming emotionally debt-free. This is really, really important because you do not want to continue to live your life with those deficits. You're gonna have to pay off those debts that have been left in your life based on the experiences, and hopefully go forward and become a better version of yourself. So in order for us to talk about how to become emotionally debt-free, we have to talk about the path that gets you to that place. It's a therapeutic path, and there are steps in the path that you have to go through in order for you to get to the place where you're emotionally debt-free. These are the steps. First step is expressing your feelings. The next step is mourning, forgiving, and healing. Next, you have to admit to the lies you tell. And then after you do that, you have to understand why you tell the lies that you do. Next, you'll have to understand what your true needs are. Next, give up false expectations. And this is for yourself and other people. Accept yourself as you are. And then the last one is to create your own free, productive, and happy life. So we won't be able to talk about all of these things today. I want to get into a good portion of them and really talk about these steps in detail. And then what we don't finish this week, we'll continue next week. But it will give you some work and some things to think about going forward. So the first one is expressing your feelings. Expressing your feelings is really important. A lot of people feel that if they don't acknowledge or deal with the emotional pain, if they don't deal with the situation that occurred, then it's like it never happened and it's not there. The reality is that suppressing your feelings is not healthy and it's not productive. It's a form of being dishonest, and dishonesty is a force that works against becoming emotionally debt-free, which is the goal for everyone in life. We don't want to walk around with emotional debt. You have to have the right to feel the way you feel. And I always tell my therapy clients this, that your feelings are your feelings, and you have the right to feel this. No one has the right to tell you how you should feel about a situation. That is your place to feel how you feel. But you have to be honest in your feelings, and you need to express them, because purging yourself of those feelings is very productive. It allows you to express how this situation impacted you, deal with those emotions, and sometimes it's a learning experience. You learn how certain situations impact you, and you can use that information going forward. The key, though, to being honest and expressing your feelings is that you have to be responsible in the behavior that results. And so you want to make sure that the behavior that comes from that expression of emotion is responsible. And that's the key thing, is that being able to express that, but also being able to act responsibly with the emotions that you now have on the table. The next thing is mourning, forgiving, and healing. And this is an important key. Mourning simply means to feel deep sorrow or regret for a situation that has occurred. In order for you to mourn again, you have to be honest with your feelings. You have to express how you feel about the situation. You can't regret something, or you can't feel sorry for something if you haven't acknowledged exactly what that thing is. And so you're going to have to express how you feel about the situation in order for you to decide whether or not this is something that you really deeply regret or you're sorrowful about. In the process of doing that, it may require you to forgive someone for an action that they took against you. Forgiving the person is not about blame, it's not about responsibility, it's not about who was at fault. Forgiving the person is freeing for you. A lot of times we're upset with a person. I've said this in past posts that we've had, that we're upset with people and they're living their lives and have no idea the impact emotionally that they've had on us, and they probably don't even care. They're probably going on with their life. So you have to mourn the situation, and you're going to have to forgive. And sometimes the forgiveness is not for another person. Sometimes the forgiveness is of yourself. If you've done something that you felt embarrassed about, something that you were ashamed of, something that you totally regret, you're going to have to learn how to forgive yourself. A lot of people walk around and they have the ability to forgive other people just fine, but they don't have the ability to forgive themselves. So you're going to have to forgive yourself if you are the offender in the situation. And then the next thing after you do that is you're able to heal, because forgiveness leads to healing. If you're able to let that situation go, if you're able to move on, if you're able to be genuine in your forgiveness, it allows you to heal from that situation, and it allows that emotional sting that you feel in the moment to start to surpass as you go on. The next thing, and this is a big one, and I love to say that there's no sense in lying to yourself, because the truth has a way of making itself known. So the next one is admitting the lies that we tell. A lot of times we lie to ourselves because unconsciously we believe that, we can change reality. If we say it's something else, then that means that's what it is. And the more we keep saying that, the more we convince ourselves that the situation didn't occur that way. It's something different. The reality is, real life doesn't change. Reality doesn't change no matter how much we try to revise it. So we have to be responsible with what happened, with the truth, tell the truth, and stop lying. Don't lie to yourself. Especially not to yourself, because you live with you. There's no sense in lying with the person that you live with every day. And definitely don't lie to other people. There are different forms of how people lie. Sometimes it's not necessarily they say things that are not true. There are different ways that this looks. But all of these different forms of lying are, something that impact negatively the therapeutic process that you're trying to go through when you want to be emotionally healthy. First form can come in that of denial. Denial is basically refusal, to tell the truth about a situation or know the truth about a situation. Something bad happened to you. So I'll give you an example. Or you think something bad is happening. You have all the evidence in the world that your spouse is cheating on you, and despite all that evidence, you're still in denial about the situation, because acknowledging the truth can be painful and you don't want to deal with the pain. So denial is a form of lying. It's a way of lying to yourself, and it's not productive. You don't want to do that. Another way of lying is, refusing to accept the blame. This is a big one. When you want to sit around and say it was everyone else in the situation and you had no accountability in it at all. Everyone has responsibility and some kind of blame in every situation, especially when it involves more than one person. Every person could have probably done something different. The reality is, people that refuse to accept the blame don't like to be seen as flawed or weak. And the reality is, everyone is flawed. No one is perfect. And we're going to have many times in our lives when we are weak. Weakness does not mean that you don't have strength. The ability to be weak and to be fragile and to show your fragility actually shows the strength that you have. And taking responsibility and being able to take the blame for your portion of what happened in the situation also shows you as a strong person and a person of character people will look up to, because you have the willingness to say, I was wrong and I want to take accountability for my wrong in this particular situation. Another form of lying is basically pretending that things happen the way you planned for them all along. So that is basically another way of dodging responsibility or admitting failure. Just because you failed doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just because you failed doesn't mean that you're not a strong person. Failure actually builds more character in you. Failure actually allows you to be a stronger person than a lot of the accomplishments and successes that you have. You learn more from your failure. So don't go around trying to revise history and saying, after the fact with hindsight vision, well, that's how I wanted it to go anyway. Well, I knew that it was going to happen that way all along. No one goes into a relationship saying that this relationship is going to fail, and then after the fact saying, I knew it wasn't going to work, I just wanted to try to see if I could give it a try. That doesn't even make sense. That's not taking responsibility and accountability for your part in the situation. And so that requires you to be honest. So all of those different things that I've given you, denial, refusing to accept responsibility and accountability, and saying it was the way you planned all along, all of those things are forms of lying, and those are things that you do not want to do to yourself if you want to be an emotionally healthy person. The last one that I think we'll be able to talk about today is understanding why you tell the lies that you do, or why you lie to yourself, or whatever form of lying you do, acknowledging why you do those things. Many times we lie to ourselves. There's a distinct reason, and it's directly tied to a painful emotional experience. You can only be truly happy by being who you are. If you don't allow yourself to be you, that is a very, very unhappy and miserable existence. Be you, because there's only one you, and the world needs who you are. So we have to realize that bad things are going to happen. Do not ever lament any part of your life, no matter how terrible, no matter how painful they are, because in every situation we can learn something. There's a lesson in everything. It's only regrettable if you go through the experience and you don't learn anything. So realize that the pain is there. There's a lesson in that pain. And when you're going through the situation, it's hard to see it. But after you get out the situation and get a little bit of distance, start asking yourself, what's the lesson in this pain? I don't want to go through this for no reason. And realize that you're not a victim. Victims do not learn anything from their experiences. They keep shirking responsibility. They keep saying that this is how they plan for things to happen. They keep denying that things occurred. Victims do that. But people that are victors, people that are victorious, people that are overcomers, do not allow themselves to be victims, and they learn from every situation, good and bad. And they probably learn more from the bad situations. So understand why you're telling these lies to yourself, and realize that in every situation, there is positive that can come out of that, and there's a lesson that you need to learn. So we can't go any further into the other steps that I gave you. So the steps that we have that we'll go over next week is giving up false expectations. We'll talk about accepting yourself as you are, and we'll talk about creating your own free, productive, and happy life. And I want to continue to thank you for tuning in and viewing these, and for your support and continued following. I want to continue to encourage you to follow me on all my social media pages. I am on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have a website. You can subscribe to my newsletter. My website address is malaikambrown.com. You can visit there to sign up for the newsletter. Those who signed up for the newsletter initially got my free ebook, Beginning Again, all right, learning how to navigate change, and that is now available on Amazon for $5.99. There will be a big announcement that will be coming out tomorrow in regards to the book and opportunities for those who have already purchased the book, all right, and have read it. And I think it'll be an opportunity that'll be beneficial to those who want one-on-one time with me, not just over Facebook, but actual one-on-one time. So I'm going to have that announcement. It will post to social media tomorrow morning, so look out for that announcement. And I'm excited to share with you what that is going to be. Also remember, you can find me on Twitter at Dr. Malaika Speaks. That's also the handle for Instagram. I'm here on Facebook at Dr. Malaika Speaks as well. If you want to email me, you can get me on email. Malaika@malaikambrown.com is the email address. But continue to reach out, continue to share your stories, continue to talk about how Transformation Tuesdays have helped you, how the quotes that are posted helped you, how the videos and little things have helped you with your transformation process. I would love to hear from you, and I love hearing your stories. Again, I thank you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for reaching out and sharing in this time that we have together. And as always, I will see you next Tuesday, same time, same channel. Have a great rest of your week.